This is my first chronograph watch, the Casio Edifice EFB700. The watch looks pretty cool and reminds you of the colors of the Mercedes AMG F1 Team, color of black, silver, and Tiffany green in the main second hand and also in the stopwatch second hand. The real Mercedes sponsors are IWC, and they make the official team watch, which is in titanium with a black dial and everything else on the dial in Tiffany green. It costs about $8,700. The Casio Edifice is actually also in F1, but they sponsored the Alpha Tauri team. This is a good looking watch. It's made of stainless steel, and the hefty band is made of solid steel links, which make it feel more substantial than a lot of the other watches that have hollow or folded steel. The pusher clasp has the Edifice logo and offers 4 fine adjustment positions in case you're between links on your wrist. It's a big and heavy watch. It is big and heavy, with even with 5 links taken out for my 6¼ inch wrist. It weighs in at 123 grams or 4.35 ounces. This compared with 93 grams or 3.3 ounces for the Slim Series EFRS 108D. And of course, the F91W comes in at 21 grams or 3/4 ounce. So this watch actually weighs almost 6 F91Ws. It comes in at 51.5 millimeters tall, 46.5 millimeters wide, including the crown, and 10.5 millimeters thick. The dial itself, just the dial face itself, comes in at 33.5 millimeters in diameter. You can see it right next to an F91W that I have here. You can see it's a pretty big watch. You can see the size difference here. Just a quick comparison. And then you can also see it with the Edifice Slim Series watch, which does not have the chronograph. And you can see them right next to each other. It's a little bit bigger, substantially taller, I would say, and substantially thicker as well. And here's just how big, for comparison, a US quarter sits on the dial. Easily fits the US quarter on the dial here. The watch has its usual hour, minute hands, and a small date at the 4 o'clock position instead of the 3 o'clock position. It has the logo and what on that is telling you it's sapphire. And the Tiffany green second hand is, like I said, this is the one that's really close to the Mercedes F1 color, bringing a great pop of color to the silver and black everywhere else. The 3 subdials occupy the top, left, and bottom of the main dial. The top keeps the 1/10 of a second. The bottom is actually the second hand. I have the stopwatch running right now. And then the left-hand portion is the actual minute. And and since it is 1/10 of a second, it makes the start stopping at 1 second really much easier than a digital watch. So the top button stops and resumes the stopwatch. The bottom button does the split and reset functions. Definitely a lot more going on than a digital stopwatch. Here I have the stopwatch running for more than 60 seconds, and then the 1/10 of a second hand actually stops. And so you can see how that all works out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it, and then you can see the 1/10 of a second hand actually does indicate, and then you can read. Right now it's getting covered up, but the minutes, the seconds, and 1/10 of a second, and you can reset it. Whoa, look at it go reset. So it's resetting by going backwards many times. It's still going. You can see the minute hand also very slowly going backwards, rewinding itself to the starting position. And so the reset's a little bit harder to, or it's not as instantaneous as a digital watch, as you can imagine. Give it a minute, or maybe quite a few minutes, but it'll come back. It'll come back. Okay, we're getting there. So it took a long time to just actually reset it. But here you can see it running. You can see the 1/10. And look at that, we stopped on the second there. And then you can reset it here. So if you want a cool looking analog watch with an analog stopwatch for $100, that makes you feel just a little bit more like Lewis Hamilton, give this watch a look.